face in the camera. This is the Jacksonville group ride that was on June 14th of 2018. The Jacksonville group rides are kicked off primarily by NEABA, which is the Northeast Alabama Bicycling Association, and they do a great job of keeping things rolling, no pun intended, in our area. This ride starts off at this point, this year anyway. They have a new about a 24-mile route that runs just a little bit south of town and then turns back to the west, loops back up to the north and then to the east, and back to the beginning. This starts off on the Ladiga Trail, which is really outstanding in terms of a resource for outdoor activity in the area. People come from actually all over the world to ride this trail, certainly from the area and the region. It starts south of where we are now, near Anniston, Alabama, and it runs all the way to the state line, the Georgia state line, where it turns into the Silver Comet Trail and terminates just near the Atlanta area for a total of around 98 or 99 miles, I think it is. So we're headed south on the Ladiga Trail, south of Jacksonville, and this is good because it's it says 0% grade. These grades, this is a converted rail trail, so the gradients are not very steep, but they're long. So even though this says 0, it's actually a climb for, you know, maybe a mile actually, and then it descends again, and then it goes back up. So we don't take this all the way to the southern terminal. We'll actually turn off here in a bit in the Weaver community. You'll see that in a minute. At this point, I'm leading out the group, and you know, you never know who's going to show up on these rides. We've got some great cyclists in our community, and so it's this is a ride that has been going on a few years, but it seems like it's been hit and miss in terms of just consistent attendance. I guess I'm certainly guilty of that compared to some of the rides based out of Anniston. But we're building the group. This group this time I think was, oh gosh, I don't remember, maybe 14, 15, or 16 riders. They split off. Some of them stayed on the trail and went north, hit a little bit of the roads, and then looped back at a little bit more casual pace, which was really great. And what we're hoping is that this will divide up into an A, B, and C group over the course of this summer. So again, this is, it's reading 1% grade. It feels like a lot more. And I ride this solo a lot, so 17 is maybe when solo I'm not necessarily grinding up this incline as quickly, but it's a little easier when you've got a group of a lot of guys behind you and you're in a good line. Starts to level out here, and probably keep the pace in this zone here for a while. We're coming up on crossing, I believe, Alexandria Jacksonville Highway here in just a little bit. There goes a rabbit. Tons of rabbits and snakes, squirrels, crazy squirrels. Have to really watch out for them. Deer, a lot of wildlife on this trail. Just to the left, they're actually building a really nice pavilion and parking area for trail users to launch off from this point if they don't choose to launch off from the old train depot, which is where we started, that you could see at the beginning of the video. Yeah, riders in the area or not from the area need to know that the traffic is not required to stop for you at these intersections, and so you really have to be careful. We've actually had some unfortunate accidents there at a lot of these crossings, so you have to really watch out. Some of the drivers, they don't stop. They're not required to there, so it's on us as cyclists and runners or walkers, trail users, to yield. At this point, I've had enough of the pull, so I let these guys do some work. And we do pace line work a little bit, or at least just hold a line. But these rides are a little bit casual. You'll see across most of this video that I don't stay in tight formation. Some of that's because of just trying to film this, and just practicing, I've got to get a little bit closer to the wheels in front of me a lot of times. So that was a little bit tight. There's always a lot of people walking and using the trail, so you have to kind of keep your eyes open, expect anything. These are good guys. I've had the fortune of knowing most of these guys on this group ride tonight, and they really have been very supportive over the last 4 years that I've lived here, just in terms of building strength and confidence, and taking you out on some really great routes when you don't know the area. The cycling community is like that. I'm sure it's like that everywhere, but that's a definite truth here. We've got some amazing people. There's my buddy Josh on the left, rotating back. Yeah, I think they're here. Josh and I are talking about some sounds on the bike, adjusting some things, and dealing with some creaks. You guys know the good stuff. Trying to chase down a creak. Is it the bottom bracket? Is it the saddle? Is it a skewer? Is the wheel, back wheel, rear wheel in? Catch back up here a little bit. Yeah, the guy here in front of me, Ronnie, is well-known cyclist in the area, and he and another friend of ours up here, I believe, had already been on most of their ride today, and were just joining us on this part of the sort of the lower leg of our route tonight, just to finish up their mileage. We sure did enjoy having them. This is actually a Strava segment right through here, known as Gummy Bear Hill. Can't remember why it's called that, but if anybody's riding the trail in this area, or if you have, if you've been through this stretch headed southbound, you've done this segment. It's a booger. It's see, it says 0% on the gradient. That is, again, that is not that's not accurate. It's actually a really long incline, and it sort of seems to level out at the end, but the segment's very long. So to really get your numbers up, you have got to really be hammering this thing. You're not worried about that today. One of the reasons that I am commenting on this and doing this commentary is just to put this out there as a test kind of for me, but just to remember some mental notes about some of the, even if it's casual, just the group dynamics and learning this route as well. I haven't lived here as long as a lot of these guys have, so this is, I think, my third time doing this route. So, and one of my goals was just to. I knew there were some hills, and a few of the hills, it's mostly rollers. These are not long climbs like the ones that could be found just south of here at Mount Cheeha, but it has a few kickers, and through some of those I was going to work on seated climbing and trying to keep my cadence upwards of 100-ish or so on some of those climbs, just to see how that is different than my out of the saddle efforts. I'm going to make a right turn. This is just into the northern part of Weaver. We go through this neighborhood to cut across to I don't think that's the Alexandria Highway, but we will hit that at some point. I forget the name of this road coming up. Just talking to some of the guys, not worried about some of the gaps forming. Again, this is casual, so we can reel some of this back in. And there's some surges that kind of happen naturally anyway, so. We start this ride at about 6 p.m. during the summer because it gives us, the daylight's longer, and man, the temperatures and the humidity are just outrageous. So it's really smart to wait later in the day. Some of these guys, like Ronnie, I mentioned, and some of them have already put in a number of miles. They've been out there in the hot sun for a while. So man, they can have that. I'm done with that stuff. Make a left turn here. This is a fun little stretch. It goes uphill just a little bit, and then you can just coast your way down this thing. It's a nice little descent. Yeah, this was my first time using a GoPro mount under my Wahoo Bolt, so it's on a K-edge mount, and I didn't look at the frames or the actual sort of what was on the screen before I started recording this. So some of these I left some gap, just not being sure as to how wide the actual like what it was getting in the shot. So now I know, so I can get on up there. Yeah, right through here we hit some little inclines. There's a lot of rollers in this part of the area. Just a lot of ups and downs. Thanks to Ty and the guys pointing out some rough spots in the road. I'll knock your teeth loose. Yeah, 3%, 4%. Yeah, another thing too is some of these guys will put a gap out there. They'll hit these little kickers and burn on up those, which is fine. This particular ride, I was trying not to overcook it right at the beginning anyway. I have a tendency to do that. And I don't have my base miles, so it's, for the most part, I have a tendency to, HR runs a little hot and overcook. So I'll let them have it in some spots. Oh yeah, that's Caesar up front pulling. Yeah, he joined us too. He's another great cyclist in the area. Puts in some serious miles. Yeah, see, we're going uphill and it says 0%. That's what I thought. So don't trust the data. It's not. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, 6%. I love these little inclines. Definitely good for warming up too. And you get over the top and you just kind of roll right on down the other side. Unless you're trying to race. Which is definitely not necessarily what's going to happen tonight, that's for sure. That's Caesar. We'll see him again. Yeah, I was moving over to the left a little bit just to catch some of the guys in the shot. That type of behavior might not be the way to go in some groups, but it works out here. We can do some of those things, at least through some of these parts. Yeah, that's Greg and Ronnie. They've, like I said, they've already done their mileage for the day, so they're talking about where to jump off from our ride tonight. They'll stick with us a few more miles. This is a pretty busy thoroughfare through here, so we have to watch out. Typically, just about always stop here. Unless we've got a really good visual, we'll unclip, stop, and then make sure it's clear. Because up to the right, I don't think they have a stop sign. So if those cars come over that hill, they they're rolling. A little bit of rough road. This goes down and then connects with, I believe, part of the Alexandria Jacksonville highway. Unless that's what we're on now. I get confused with these roads. Sorry, you guys. Oh yeah, the video, you probably will hear a lot of beeping coming from my unit. Apparently, when you use the GoPro mount that's right underneath the GPS unit, it has a tendency to, on occasion, slightly mess with the GPS, and that it if you have a route programmed in like I do for this one, it thinks you're off route for a minute, so it'll beep. So you'll hear that annoying beep every once in a while. Alright, yes, I know we cooked a stop sign. Before you freak out, that's we've got a merge there that's perfect visual and all clear. So we just keep it rolling. Definitely stop if there's any traffic. Yeah, this is another nice little area through here just to kind of keep things. You can get several of the miles out of the way pretty quickly if you tuck in and go, depending on who's up front and what the group's mission is. Yeah, I wish I had some footage behind me. Got some folks with us behind us, and I don't know. I don't know how many cameras I actually need hanging off my bike. Some of you guys can do that. I can't. One's plenty. I'm lucky to have gotten even any of this. That's Ken there. He is super strong. Rides down from his house, does this ride, and then rides back for about a 50-mile grinder. Whew. Strong. Yeah, these group rides are nice. It's nice to get back in with some folks again. Having done a lot of solo miles, it's nice to have some folks. There goes Greg and Ronnie breaking off from us for the day. We'll see you guys soon. Always love to ride with those guys. That's Mike up front pulling, and Ty just in front of me. Mike and Ty are good friends, ridden a lot of miles with these guys too. Very patient. It's great when you're having a bad day. All these guys, I've bonked a few times, unfortunately, on rides with a number of these guys, and they got your back. Talk about a community, man. There's no ego problems. taking a right turn. I pulled out just to signal to everybody behind us, make sure that it was all clear and back. And we're gonna go up State Farm Road. This has a nice little climb here at the beginning that you definitely will feel it. It's not the climb. This is also a Strava segment for you guys who either are visiting the area, or if you're thinking about doing this ride on this route, just know this is the spot where the State Farm climb is. There's a way around it. You can take a right up here and take an alternate route and dodge it, but not tonight. We're doing it. I'll let Ty go on out front. Ty's so smooth, man. Look at that joker. He's not even his heart rate's probably about 30. He might even be asleep. Look at this dude. He's just going. Cadence is right there, man. He knows what's up. So this is the beginning of that climb. It's short, but it's a good one. It's definitely one that I should get back out there and work on more. You can watch the percentage go up a little bit. I'll let Ty just have it. Caesar's gonna come around me in just a second, out of the saddle. So my goal was to stay seated, and my cadence is only in the 80s right now, so I'm not really hitting the goal that I want. And let them go on ahead. I'm just going to sit and spin, so I'm going to get it up in the 90s here. And even though it's a short climb, it's interesting keeping that heart rate around the 180 and then my cadence even in the 90s seated. I'm still catching up with these guys. So well, we weren't necessarily racing the segment or trying to beat each other on this, but it was nice to work on that. This is a great descent. I'm not a descender. I was going to just dive into this thing, and usually would. This is a super fun. It's not super steep. It's just real fast and quick. But there's a series of dogs actually, to the left down here that will come flying out and leave their yard and come out into the road. And so I was dragging some brake through here, even at 29 miles an hour, 30, and in case they came out, but they weren't, and here goes Josh. Now the problem is that if you're into the Strava gig, not only was that hill back there part of the segment, but there's another one that overlaps that one that includes all of this stretch of road all the way up to the next four-way stop where we stop, two-way stop. So this is fast. I really was dragging tonight, man. Look at that. Like, I could have been going much faster here. These guys are gone. They put a nasty gap. So here I am thinking, well, maybe if I just bump up the effort just a little bit, kick my cadence up, get some speed back in there, I can reel them back in. That's a mistake. I did not necessarily reel them back in. As you can see, they are gone. Now I could have, but considering the temperature and the humidity, and I know those guys are behind me too, just figured I would just keep it right where it was and hold it. I knew we were going to meet back up here pretty soon. If I had more base in me, I would have attacked for sure. Probably would have just taken the descent faster and stayed right on Josh's wheel when I saw him pass. That's what I should have done, was just gone after him. It's got a few little rollers in the middle of this thing. If you get enough momentum, you can just pop over the top of them mostly, but I let too much go. Starting to catch up here with Joshua. I think we're nearing the crossing of Alexandria Jacksonville Highway again. For sure, that's what this road is coming up. That's a crossroad, and you definitely have to stop and watch for traffic at that point. So I think he's backing off the effort a little bit there. I'm thankful, of course. Let me get my legs under me and it's on, brother. Alright. Yeah, Ty and Caesar have already gone on ahead. Watching for traffic. Look at this guy. Track stand. This is good because this has let everybody else kind of catch on up with this. They weren't that far behind. We just got spread out on that last climb a little bit. I'm going to ride up here to Joshua and try to have a conversation about how I should probably change the GoPro battery. Apparently there's a car back though, and Ken, I think, yelled out, which is good. Thanks, guys. Gotta start paying more attention. Yep. A lot of agriculture. This is interesting. This is we're headed back north at this point. This is another great little stretch of road. It also climbs slowly at the beginning, and this is also a Strava segment too, for those of you who care about that. It's not registering, but it does have a little bit of an incline here, and then it kicks up with a series of rollers all the way up until we turn off at, I believe, Post Oak as a cut through. That'll be a left turn. Dog wise, this route is not too bad, but this stretch through here, last couple of rides up here on the left, we've had some dogs jumping out at us here. This particular evening was okay because the owner was out there and called him back. There's 2 or 3 right in this yard to the left. You see Joshua just charging at him like, yeah, you don't want any of this. This lane there in front of me, man, I think he and Mike and Ty and a bunch of these guys have spent all last year doing all the Alabama Backroads Century Series. I know they did over 10 of them, I think. I'm sure they'll correct me if they watch this and want to correct me. That's fine. Much respect, man. That's incredible. Great mileage. They're so much stronger. Yeah, also occasionally dogs in these yards to the left up here. None tonight, but sometimes they'll jump out at you. Most are okay. They don't really leave the yard, but you never know. We'll get over this hill. I was noticing that Ken and Lane are working the numbness out of their hands a little bit. That's something I'm always watching in other riders, and I'm always interested in people's fit. You know, depends on how many miles they've ridden a day, or lots of things. You know, I'm always trying to be really aware of changing things on my fit. I'm still working on it. It's always a work in progress to eliminate some of those numb fingers from time to time, or sometimes just I know for me I don't move my position very much as I could, or I get too focused on one position or just on the ride, and I don't keep it moving. But got it mostly worked out, pain-free on my end. Used to run my saddle a little bit too high and had too much pelvic rotation. I got rid of that, fixed all that stuff. I make a left turn here at, I believe this is Post Oak. Just a little cut through. Also one of those nice little cut throughs, but there's definitely some dog action on this road. This is one of those that I like being with a group, because when there's more than one dog, a lot of times if you have a group, you can sort of spread out the energy a little bit. Yeah, good pull, Mike. It's always smooth. I think we're going to catch back up to, yeah, they're the other two up front. Ty and Caesar, they got ahead of that traffic at that last intersection. And those guys are fast. They were keeping it rolling pretty good. So we're going to bridge on back up to them, which is good, because right up here, just in this curve past this little cluster of trees on the right, there are 2 to 3 dogs, and last week there was a couple on the left, so there were about 5 dogs all at once. The dogs on the left did not come out, but you can see them on the right up here. There's 2 of them. That guy, there's his buddy behind him. I mean, in business, man, they're ready to eat. I'm gonna eat me some bikes. No thanks. And then the last dog is gonna be, he's not out today either, weirdly enough. But there's a little guy down here at this White House on the left, right here. He's a black and white dog, not sure what kind, but that joker is not worried about the road. He'll come out and he will run. And he is fast. But not today. In fact, that's what I was just talking to Lane about right there. So we're going to get back into the little cluster up here and go up yet another segment. One of our other little hills. Alright, we're going to stop. Sometimes you can slow roll through here. It just depends on the traffic, if you got visual again. But I always like to keep my eyes out. You never know. This is sort of a interesting intersection. We're going to take a right turn. Head back up. This is the Wellington area. It's funny, you know how you can do routes where you think you've already been on part of the route before? This kind of looks like that other climb, the State Farm Road climb. This is, I believe they called this segment in Strava is the Chicken Litter Hill. Hey, and see, once again, I'm just gonna sit back, stay in the saddle. I'm not gonna burn it out. I'm just practicing, just like Josh up there is doing on the right. Sit and spin. A lot of these guys are doing that on this one. So I'm trying that too. Don't have it in me today to fight some battles, so there are no cars back at this point. Also working to keep the my heart rate at a certain level. And this is another one of those really great, not super steep descents, but just typical rollers. I should have been over in another gear and just been hammering this thing, but it wasn't necessarily that kind of night. Although we had a decent average at the end of this thing. It wasn't that it was just an easy, super easy spin. For me anyway, it was definitely a holistic effort, but just trying to balance it out. I've always had a tendency to go out too hard and try to prove something, I don't know, and just burn up. Man, it's stupid. I don't have the base miles in me to recover fast enough. My HR is still stays up too high for the amount of effort that I do. I need to be able to recover faster, so it just takes some time. And probably more rest, better diet, all the stuff that I'm sure we could all be better at doing. I'm going to bridge up to these guys here. A couple weeks ago, another great cyclist in the area was doing some of his intervals out here. Came flying past us. Great guy, super strong, man, just was cooking. I'd love to have had the fire to jump on that wheel and take off, but that'll be a while. Man, this is beautiful land, you know, like you take for granted that you don't have this. I didn't have this. I had this kind of land where I moved here from, but cycling was not embraced like this. Not like it is here. So this is like a hidden treasure. Yeah, kind of a loose formation a little bit. This is a really great little S curve coming up. And there's this, check out this old wooden bridge that we're about to go across. You can't really see it in the video too much. Look at that up there. We're going to go under it. See that? Check that out. Man, that's crazy. That's really nice. And actually, I should know this. I'm not sure, but I don't know what what this is on the left and right here. This is really beautiful. Looks like a vineyard or something, but it's it doesn't feel like Alabama. This is like, are we in Napa Valley? Where are we? These are some great rollers. This is all, I believe, still part of a Strava segment. So again, some folks who are hot on that, I'm going to put this video out on the internet, and anyone who's not asleep from my narration here, my commentary, if you're in this area, get in touch, you know, and it's there's definitely some segments on this thing. Ooh, yep, some braking going on. I'm not sure what's going on there, but there are definitely some places to get some digs and some efforts And eventually, this happens every Thursday night, so we'll add to it for an A group if the A group decides to form. There's a northern terminal, not a terminal, there's a northern loop that can be added to this thing to extend it a little bit. Yeah, it's really fascinating. A lot of the agriculture and the growth of things out in this area. So we've got about another 10 miles to go to wrap this thing up. It's not a long ride, but it's a good one, man. These little rollers are deceiving. Some little patches of loose gravel. You always have to watch out for that stuff. Yeah, these guys, man, they've got some stories that they can tell, but even just, you know, like anybody, really, everybody's a character. Love these guys to death, man. I could spend this entire video telling you about these folks, but respect some privacy. But they're good guys. Yeah, we're about at the point where we turn and head back home, heading back east. Probably one of my favorite parts of the entire route, and just in terms of lack of traffic and dog interaction and just scenery. I mean, it's all beautiful, but it's a great direction on the route. It's sort of, you know, that once you make it to this point, you know, if you want to try some stuff, you can try some stuff. If you're in a race mentality, you can kind of dig in some spots. We've done a few little attack things before, but I don't know, lately with the heat and humidity, we're all pretty cooked. There also are some little ascents on this that, again, it won't even necessarily register, or when you're riding, it doesn't look like you're going up much of an incline at all, but you can easily pop real fast on some of these little rollers. And again, it's the end of a long day. It's 90 degrees. That takes a little bit out of you. Some of you guys would definitely respond by saying harden up. I hear you, I know, but not all of us are out getting our 20 hours a week on the bike like some of you guys might be. Roadkill. Stop and pick that up for dinner. I'm just kidding. Protein though. No, I'm just kidding. Look at Ty up front. Man, that Joker is just, he's got so many miles in him, man. It's like, he could serve up some coffee and tea right up on the handlebars while you're riding by. He ain't worried about it. He's having him a nice ride, pulling the whole group. Look at this area, man. This is beautiful. It also reminds me of back over in Mississippi, where you had a lot of open pastures like this toward the Delta. Man, you just see forever. So pretty. Yeah, there's a car. That might be the one time I've seen a car out here. That's not always that light. There's some traffic, but it's not much. Getting some gels, maybe. Hey, buddy, mow that yard. It's a nice riding lawnmower, man. I gotta watch this interchange right here. This is kind of weird because they can come in from the right over there, and so you always have to kind of keep your eye on this strange intersection. The road forks here. I was moving up to making sure they knew we're going to take the right. You could go left and head on out that way, which is really beautiful too, but we're going to bump up here to the right. Yeah, this is a little kicker, man, that always knocks you in the teeth right here. It's real short, but if you don't have momentum going into it, you gotta power your way up that little incline. I love it though, man. I love it. I just love the stretch through here. And when I ride this solo, my thing I believe right through here is I will shift over. If I don't have folks around me, I'll just dig in here because it's a fast little curvy, not curvy, but just a quick little descent. And I'll kick the pace up pretty hard because it goes back uphill for like half a mile, or maybe not even that long, quarter mile. And it can kind of eat into you a little bit. I'm not going that fast right now, but it's definitely one of those. Good Ty. He's messing with me. He was talking smack. Funny guy. If you ever ride with us, Ty and I will probably be talking smack the whole time. So, trash talking. That's why I like that guy. Yeah, see, it's going back uphill here. It's one of those little kickers. Josh and I both were staying seated, kind of keeping that cadence up. Keep it going. Not burn up everything out of the saddle. Next ride, I'll probably do the opposite. I'll probably get out of the saddle and dump more power. Just got to work out all the different aspects of training. Even on a real baby level. I'm nowhere where I need to be with any of this stuff, but it's fun. don't know if that's Ken right on my tail. You can see our shadows. Maybe I think it's Caesar. But coming around a little bit. I'm not dumping the fire like they want. Maybe this is all a little incline through here. It's got to be more than 3%. Feels like 20. We do have some climbs here that is one peak where you can hit a 20 and 23% on the GPS, it'll say. Not on this route. There's usually a dog to the left right over here too, but he's not out today either. Which is good because that car probably would have hit him. These people need to keep their dogs, man, like in control. But you live out in the country, I guess you don't care. And when we top this hill, this is Wellington Road, another, just so beautiful. This is another one of those, you top the hill. It's one of my very favorite parts, man. You won't see it on the camera like you should, but just vast, just open, little valley. There goes Caesar and Ty. Ty talking smack to me on the way up. Another unusual thing right here at the top, run into another dog running around out here on the left who's never here, never seen him. Big old Great Dane. He wasn't worried about us, man. He's coming up here to say, hey, look at him. Big old joker. This is beautiful. You can see some of the foothill ranges back there in the distance. Some of the other routes that the A group may add on comes in on the left up here from the north coming down to the south and ties back into the route. Some more good riding up that way. And last week I tried to really dump the power down through here. It's a descent, but you really get some fun downhill rolling. You just keep it going, but we weren't hitting too hard today. Some people have asked what sort of average we do. It kind of depends on what group you end up with. Some of this group hasn't gotten big enough just yet to be completely defined into A, B, and C. I think this day was the day that some decided to stay on the trail, on the little Daiga trail, and do a little bit out north and a couple of roads and then back at a slower pace. So I don't know what their average ended up being, or if they were worried about that. I think for us on this, I actually had some mileage, about 2.5 miles before added to this ride, that where I rode from my house to the meeting point where we start. So my average was a little lower than these guys I was riding with too. So, but still, I think it was around a 18.6 average miles per hour overall. So, you know, certainly not A group. The Anniston ride south of here, they call it the pizza ride. They've got a like AA plus group that will have much higher averages. Those guys are super fast. I don't know that that's necessarily. I think there's a few guys in this group that definitely could handle that, but some of it's the intent. I don't think that's yet, anyway, the intent of this particular ride. For me, personally, right now, since I'm just now getting back out there, this is a great group and a great ride for me personally, because it's got those rollers, it's got a little bit of climbing, it's got some good places to kind of try and work on anything, and every week you can change it up. And it's just loose enough that you can. It's mostly a no drop ride. I mean, I think it breaks up enough if there's enough people that it sort of self groups, and so like it did, I think, this day. Some of the guys that were behind us, I think, stopped for a minute, but that's fine. I think they were maybe waiting on somebody. So I think it just kind of depends. I mean, it's everybody respects everybody out here, so it's a good group. Caesar said he was ready to get up there and get on it. I remember thinking, man, I'm cooked. But I was so stubborn about trying to just keep around that 100 cadence. That's something I'm just starting to work on, you guys. So I'm kind of new to that thing. I don't have a power meter yet. I'm not racing. I mean, I don't know that I need all that, but I would love to have one. I am trying to be a little bit more aware of those things, get my cardio worked up a little bit more. And then some days, pushing harder gears, doing maybe some intervals, some efforts in a different way. So this particular day, I was just more into a certain flow. There's another intersection here. Probably burn on through. Not a lot of traffic through there. You have a good visual, so keep it rolling. We've only got about another 4.5 miles till we get back. Once again, another kind of strip through here of some good rollers. Occasionally back at that intersection there's a couple of dogs, but they don't I've never run into any trouble there before. At this time of day, the traffic is a lot lighter. This road can have at this point of the road, at least through this area, it can have some pretty heavy traffic at times. So but early to mid mornings during the summer, not so much, and then in the evenings, I haven't had too much issue with that. I think a lot of people have gotten home, or they're not out and about, so it's not usually too bad. Let Caesar take it for a while, do some work. He'll do it too, man. It's one thing, all respect to Caesar, I haven't ridden with him too much, but man, he will get out front, and he will, if it's about pulling the group, he will size it up and get up there and go. I know he kept me moving tonight. I didn't always have that in me, so it was nice to have some of that rotation. He moved back up a couple times. That was nice. Thanks, Caesar. I think this is Cedar Springs Road. I think I said Wellington Road. I can't remember. They change. Oh man, I'll get it together here soon. But they change names. We turn on to Broadwell Mill Road up here on the right. And it's definitely got some rollers. People passing on double lines, but they're visually are clear. Yeah, we make this right turn coming up here in just a second. A week before, a buddy of ours, Tim, was riding, and he threw out an attack there, and I didn't have it in me to chase that one down. I think Josh would chase that one down. Turning. Oh yeah, car almost pulled out there. Folks looking at their phones, man. There goes Joshua pulling on out front. Yeah, I'll see how it is. I guess we're going to have to start saving up for the get down through here. I don't know. Or rather, me anyway. Just constant rollers. This is also a segment too. Again, if you're not into Strava, sorry. If you're a Strava guy or gal, you got plenty on this route. Some good ones. Traffic can also kind of be a little dicey through here. None of it's too bad as long as you're paying attention and assuming that they're probably not. So you just have to, there are places where I'll take the lane a little bit more just to be clear. Especially up here in another quarter mile or so, when we kind of curve around to the left, back to the east. We're going to go over a couple of more little kickers here, and there's a nice fun little downhill to the left, and a little bit of a bowl. Caesar knows what's up. Yep, he's kicking us up over this little. There we go. Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. That's fun right there. Yeah, usually you shift on over and dig in, getting the drops. And I'll move over. Yep, he's doing it too. I get over in the lane a little bit, just to let folks know, hey, I'm here. Kicks right back uphill again. And then we've got this little bit of an incline, and then we're going to turn left on the Lonely Pine Road, which is also another Strava segment, and will definitely knock the lungs out of you. It's rollers and has some fast spots for sure. Got to watch your cornering. This is a really rough spot. We got to make a left turn, so you have to definitely signal back and clear back, so you know that the traffic behind you knows you're about to turn left. And certainly in front, you got to watch that right there. It's a rough spot. But we got it. The segment starts there and goes for the next mile or two up to where we reconnect with the Lodiga Trail and the end of the ride. I've come out to this spot a few times just on a Lodiga Trail ride, even get off the trail and just do a loop that would come up to work on this segment a few summers ago. Better my time. I've got to do it when I'm a little fresher. A lot of people dumping trash and junk out to the right out there. It's really bad. I had a horsefly attacking me right here, flying around, man, like wouldn't let up. Ty didn't help that. Ty was talking smack as usual about the fly, and man, he's all over your head, Chad. I'm up here fiddling with that fly while they take off on this climb. See, that's some chump tactics. Won't make that mistake again, Ty. Although he was right. Y'all don't mess with those horseflies, man. Those things, I think they have little pilots inside of them. Those are some big flies. We lost that little fly here, though. Get a little speed on it. Going back uphill. Yeah, these three, man, they just like got their second, third, fourth match ready to burn. I'm up here at 176 BPM, barely holding the wheel. So had better days. It's a fun ride though. I still felt pretty good, but just couldn't play any games. Speaking of HR, those guys are probably at like 130 something right now, where I'm at 170. That's what I've seen, so gotta work on that. Yeah, man, fun little curve, little downhill swoop. Just bumping out of my line just to get some film, but they're already gone, so that was dumb. I should have just stayed on it. Got to get a good visual in this curve. We come up next to some industry. We're really close to the end here. I was trying to close this gap up Just get a little frustrated at sitting too far back. Anybody new to this, if you ride it, this is another little spot that, you know, just watch out, because see, they're cutting out. That's great. But man, I've seen some close calls with some vehicles right through here, so I don't know. That kind of stays in my head. At least when the growth is high as it is. Yeah, we're at the end now, so this is coming back to the Ladiga Trail. Lonely Pines ties right up into that. I'm gonna try to close this gap up. They're coasting at this point, but I'm gonna sprint up to them a little bit. I say sprint, not an actual sprint, but just get up there. Sorry, Caesar. I meant to tell you I was coming. And here we are. We're back just about where we started. So right up here is the Ladiga Trail. It runs right in between these buildings. I don't know if I said this before, but if you're not from the area, it's just a rail trail. So the railroad used to run right through here. It's really interesting. It's great to have this resource. This is amazing for this area. And this is it, you guys. This is the end of the Jacksonville Southern Loop. Last year they did a Northern Loop. It's another really good route, but this is what I believe is going to be standard here for the season, probably. So we hope to add to it, and if we get some A group guys, we'll add to that. We'll start posting the routes. The Northeast Alabama Bicycling Association, NEABA, will have those up on their Facebook and social media and websites, I'm sure. And again, you don't have to be a member to ride with us, but it's encouraged, of course. I'm not a member, I should be, but good guys, man. Good ride. We're all laughing. We all got back. Another good, safe return. It's always something to be thankful for, to get back and be safe. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks. And thanks for your patience. Come join us every Thursday night, 6 o'clock, Jacksonville Depot, right off of Mountain Street.